All right, we are ready for the next step, which is removing the lifting balm. So I'm gonna take the Q-tip and kind of spin and twist it. And sponge tip applicators work really well for this part of the service as well. Okay, almost got the rest of it off. And I like to kind of remove until I see the Q-tip with no purple on it. Okay, now the next part of the service is extremely important. We're going to be doing what's called the volumizing fix. Another name for it is like a neutralizer. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that part. And again, I'm going to kind of coat it on there thick and be very liberal with it. And if you at all get some around the brow, it's not a big deal because you have that brow protector petroleum base there protecting the skin. So once all the hairs are completely coated, we then will start to manipulate the hair in the direction that we would like the lamination to go in. So again, options with the lamination. We can cover sparse, gappy areas of the brow by combing the hair to create more of a filling. We also can achieve a higher arch, and also with using a spoolie brush, you can create more of a brow lift and a fluffiness to it because you're kind of combing it up. Now, I tend to like doing the brow lamination with both technique of a spoolie, and I like to press down on the brow. So if you do like a technique like this, that's called brow smoothing, and it's going to be more of a flatter appearance. So sometimes straight fluffy can be a little too wild for clients. So I like to do the combination of the spoolie and sponge tip or Q-tip application. So you have to manipulate the brow the entire time during this neutralizing step because it's moving the disulfide bond, it's repairing it back in, and that's what's going to freeze the hair follicles into place. The hair structure, the hair is going to just kind of go right where we are giving it the direction to go. And it will help also as brow hairs grow out because you can train the hair over time, just like when you got a perm when you were a kid. So notice I'm kind of creating this lift. Now with this part, mid-brow through the tail, you want to kind of create the brow going out a little bit. Don't try to go down. So let me show you here. So you always want to kind of bring the brow hair a little bit out, because if you go down, you can create more of a downturn to the brow and it drops it. So it kind of takes away from that lift that we're trying to achieve. Okay. Again, pulling this out. Another reason why you want to continue manipulating is you don't want the volumizing fix to be sitting on the skin as much. You really want it to be penetrating the hair. the hair shaft. So that's kind of why you want to constantly move or manipulate it. And I always continually clean up with Q-tips as I'm working. I typically make a mess with this service. And the room looks like that too when I'm done, but the results are what we're after. So this needs to sit on just about 6 minutes. And that neutralizing step is pretty simple once you get the brow in place. It's just that continual manipulation of the hair that you want to continue to do. Now, if I wanted to create a smoothing effect for, like, she's got some of these hairs right in the front that want to stick up. So what I would do is, let me check the time here. Okay, we got about 3 minutes. I could put it like right on top, add some of the volumizing fix. And then what I could do is just kind of press down if I wanted to smooth it just like that. So any hairs that stick out, you can actually urge them down. So keep that in mind for when you're wanting to, I call it training the brow hair to lay a certain way. Okay. I'm gonna go back to my spoolie again. And then now the typical look, what you see on social media of brow lamination is that brushing like straight up. Now, most clients are not going to want that all the time. It might be for fun, for just a time or two, but for an everyday look, most of the time they just want their brow hairs combed in a certain way to make it easy for them when they're getting ready in the morning to add a little pencil, and it looks more natural when they're not super wild. And again, my favorite part of the whole service is the fact that we can create this lift. And I think brow lamination should be used more for creating a lift, not just that straight up look that a lot of people associate with this. Okay, I'm gonna check this one here. Those are staying down quite nice. I'm gonna keep this combing up and we'll be ready for removal. So the only area I see is like right here is kind of where Vanna's hair doesn't want to lay perfectly. So when I tint, I'll keep that in mind because you can create a look with the tint with staining the skin a little bit to try to create more of a cohesive arch and lift in the area. Okay, so now we're gonna do removal. And I'm gonna again use the Q-tips or sponge tip applicators. So I'm gonna press. Now these like couple hairs are still sticking up, so I'm gonna just kind of leave a little bit there while I remove the rest. And I'm kind of pressing. Okay. And then we're gonna remove this side as well. These little hairs stayed straight down in the front like I wanted, so they did really good. And if little things like that are something you notice, you want to make a note in your client file and you can be aware of those. Like for example, those little hairs the next time you do their brow lamination service. So I always tell the client, the key with the first service is I'm trying to learn the way that their hairs grow, the way their brow takes to any type of solutions that are going to change the way the hair is bending. Okay. All right, next step, I'm going to reapply some more brow protector, and then I'm going to go in with tinting. Okay. Now, typically on my blondes, I like to do light brown, and that's like considered a dark blonde. Now notice I'm not shaping her brows yet. I'm not doing anything but just tinting because I want to see what hairs pull up with color. Because sometimes they have more, especially when they're blonde, they have a lot more hair than what you actually realize they have. So they have a lot what I call brow potential. So really make sure on your developing solution with each type of brow tint, depending on the brand, that you really make sure it's not too aqueous. You want to just have that like creaminess, so it's going to apply very easily and not run down the brow or the skin of the brow. Okay, so I'm just mixing really well. Make sure you get it off your sides. Okay, now I'm gonna apply. So this is where I love the artistry starts to come in. So once I get the majority of the brow covered, I'm gonna go to the other brow. The thing that people do wrong is they work too much on one brow. So say they kept working on that other brow with color application, and then it's a 2 minutes before they get to the other brow. So then this brow is gonna tint darker if you're not paying attention to the time. So you really should work back and forth. That's the best way to do it. So this brow tint only needs to be on for like 1 minute because the hair follicle, the hair shaft, they're really easy to absorb color. So we're going to be able to get color in there pretty quickly. So much. In fact, I like doing lamination for really anyone I'm tinting, doing a brow tint, because I find that A, they like their brow hairs to be trained, but B, I feel like their tint lasts longer. So for clients that you just need it to penetrate a little bit deeper, you can recommend the brow lamination for them. Okay, so once I get the tint on there, then I'm gonna take a Q-tip again and I'm gonna go around the area just to kind of clean up. Certain tints don't stain the skin. This is a tint that really doesn't stain the skin much at all. So again, I'm just cleaning up. I think I've almost gone through every Q-tip I have. Okay, here. So what I'm doing is I'm just removing from that top, cleaning it up. So you can see, even with the tint, I'm starting to create a lift with her brow. Couple little hairs in that front I want to tint. Okay, going to be ready for removal here in just 1 minute, or not even 1 minute, like 30 seconds. Voila. Now we're removing. Now notice I'm not pressing that much when I'm removing. I'm using a 2x2 because I want to go in with the spoolie and redirect the hair for removal. So I'm going to use a clean spoolie brush. And comb it through. Okay, so after I get done combing it through, now I'm going to use another clean Q-tip. And I'm just gonna kind of roll to make sure I've gotten all the tint off. Okay. Okay, now I'm gonna continue with my waxing service because I wanna clean her brows up for her. And this is when the fun comes in because you get to really see the shape come to fruition. And then sometimes if I want, I can go back in with a little bit of tint on just like little certain areas of the brow while I'm gonna clean them up. Okay, so because I did, you can apply more brow protector or you can apply also some powder, which I'm gonna do that just before I do any of the waxing. Just to help protect her skin. So I'm going to start on the underneath first. There we go. Okay, so we'll apply the wax. Okay, and then I'm going to take one of our wax strips. I'm like a ninja when I wax, I'm super fast. I'm gonna have you tilt this way for me. So one brow is waxed underneath, and then now I'm gonna do the second one. Perfect. Okay, let me tilt this way just so I can make sure I got all the hair. I want it to pool. Okay. Then I'm going to take my clean spoolie again, kind of comb them up, see what else I have to get. And then usually I like to clean up around the brow as well to create like where she has none of that like little baby fine hair. So I'm gonna go to the top and then clean up those areas. Around the top of the skin, it's a lot more resilient, so I don't add too much powder to those areas. So I'll get her middle here. Okay, middle's cleaned up. And now we're gonna get the tops. Okay, so I'm gonna have you turn this way. Just kind of creating that really pretty slope. also the tail. Okay. And then the top and the tail on the other one. Just gives you a nice, very detailed brow. I think details of a brow are the key to creating an amazing brow lift. Okay, so right there. Okay, and then at the end, I'm going to use just one Pellon strip just to check that I don't have any wax residue. Then I'm going to use a little bit of a wax remover to take off any other residue I might have. Okay, then I like to end with the cleanse solution before I tweeze, just because of the witch hazel, which is like antiseptic, helps keep the hair follicles from clogging after waxing, especially for oilier clients, and we live in a humid climate. Okay, so I'm going to grab my tweezers, my clean spoolie. I'm going to brush those hairs. So I'm going to show here. Perfect. So I can really see kind of the line that I want to create with my tweezers. I really want to create that lift, so I'm going to go right into the arch. And, you know, it's going to be row by row. Okay, just a couple more hairs here. This hair that's hanging down here, I would not keep. There we go. Okay, one brow down, one more to go, and then we're gonna have a finished result. So I always, even whenever I manipulate the brow, I always want to go back in, because it takes 24 hours for the brow to be set up, just the same as the lash lift. So I'm always going back in and getting the brow to do exactly what I want it to do. Okay, now I'm going to head to the other brow. And again, I'm going to carve out the arch a little bit more. You'll see me use so many different wands and Q-tips because sometimes I lose them while I'm working. Okay, I know I want to clean this area up here. Okay. And I'm using my little antiseptic. Just one little hair hanging out here that shouldn't be here. Okay. And really, until you get really good at this part, I recommend taking a white pencil and kind of just covering over the hairs you think you should take, just so you can kind of get a good gauge on, have the client sit up and see if that's the ones indeed you should take before you take them. Okay. Okay. Now you can see here we have an amazing brow lift that has created such a beautiful frame for Ivana. And you're going to explain how she should take care of this. There should be an aftercare product that comes with the brow lamination solution that you're using. And it's important that they use this every day, morning and night, to just kind of feed the hairs that you just did a process, like a chemical process to make sure that the hairs stay healthy. And then also, you know, sit your client up, see what she thinks. But from my angle, I think it looks great. And each time you do your client, you're going to learn their brows even better too, and you're going to always continue to get great results. So fear not, go for this service, because it's going to really bring repeat clients. And I think clients will trust you with their brows and know that that amazing shaping and that lifting technique is something they can't find just anywhere. You know, like a lot of people say, oh, I'm just going to go to a walk-in brow wax place. But this is the way you set yourself apart. Okay, so she is all set, nice and lifted. And we will see you next time.